we get that, and so I don't want to just, harp on some of these things. But what I do want to do is just give some information about what's a good way to help our immune system in times like this. But anytime. A healthy, robust immune system is important all of the time. So, yes. But what we do first with every show is we start with gratitude. So, I was trying to figure out today what I'm grateful for, because there's so much in the world to be grateful for. It's a crazy time, that's okay. But there's so much in the world to be grateful for. And I'm just still, I get a little bit annoyed sometimes, but I'm happy, I'm excited. Life is good, business is good. I've got good people in my life. And so it made me really grateful for the people who are those pivotal people in your life. And it's interesting because that's Jeff is one of those people for me, and it's interesting. We'll get into this history a little bit because, you have the people who come in and out of your life, and these moments as you look back. You don't know it at the time, but you see these moments where there was a shift, and you're like, holy smokes, this is the coolest thing in the world. And I think it's the coolest thing in the world. And and Jeff was one of those people. And I assume you know this, but we'll get into it in a little bit. But I'm grateful for you. And I'm grateful for all of those people, whether they're still in my life or not, right? Some of them are lessons learned, some of them are shifts and changes in life and in business. But it's really a beautiful journey that we all take as we move through life and as people come and go. So with that, Jeff, your turn.
Well, I guess that I would be, number one, of course, always grateful, first off, for my dog, Knuckles. Because he's so cute.
Dogs.
And it's like I tell everyone that if everyone in the world left me and hated me, my dogs would love me. So of course, shout out to my dogs. But also pivotal turning points, people that kind of changed everything. I have a lot of you friends out there that are that way. That it changed my life to know you. I just think that life is this a magical thing that we can't explain sometimes, and even with all the crazy stuff that's happening, we have a lot to be grateful for. The fact that we have food, the fact that we have each other, the fact that we are actually alive, which is like a complete miracle. That's generally what I generally go back towards, is like, this is a miracle, and we're living in it. So, I've had worse times, and these are good times, even with all the crazy stuff that's going on, because I think we're going to learn to all take care of each other again, and to love each other again, and to obviously build campfires and eat beans.
Yeah.
So, it actually gets fire back, fires and fiber back in our diet. So, it's one of those deals. I think we're going to make a lot of creative stuff and a lot of music, have a lot of fun times. It's like the 90s, people, that's basically the way things were. And I just think that we're going to enter an age of, caring and compassion and empathy. That's the most important part of all of this.
Yeah.
Is that we become empathetic again and realize that this has become the great equalizer. But that's probably for another show.
We could go on and on. Yeah, no, I think that's a really great point. And I think that, we have cycles in life and cycles in economics and cycles in all of the things that we do. And so if we can look at this, I was actually listening to, it was a webinar last night, and it really, I loved it, because I feel okay. I'm fine with the stuff. I get, like I said, I get annoyed with it, and there are things that are frustrating about it. But it's also scary for those. We're both entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
We have to work to live, to make money, right? And everybody's kind of freaking out a little bit. But if we can take this and let's put a spin on it. So these are not my words, but put a spin on it. And instead of this happening to us, it's happening for us.
Sure.
There's a reason for it, right? There's something that we can do. If we're stuck at home, if we're stuck inside, if we're not seeing clients, if we're not having those contracts, whatever it is, take it and switch it. So put your stuff online, do a course, do something positive, and something that's going to allow you to move through this process. Keep your mind busy, keep your heart busy, hopefully make a little bit of money as we're all online, whatever it takes. And so, I think it should be that way in all of life. If there's something that kind of just hammers us, let's go, okay, I'm pissed, but how can I turn this into a way that I'm actually okay with it and I'm happy?
Sure.
And I just think that's gratitude in and of itself. And I think starting our day helps us to see things in a very positive way instead of just being mad. Because who wants to go through life being mad?
Sure. It's ridiculous. So you have to live where you are. I don't live in the past. I don't live in the things that that I wish. It's like staying in desire, living in desire your whole life. It's just going to lead you to heartache. So if you just live in this moment, you appreciate this moment. That's why I've been practicing for at least, I think, 25 years of my life. Before that, I lived in the past. I lived in the hopeful present. And the only thing that I can do to actually find happiness and contentment is the big deal, where we don't long for things that aren't. We don't want things to be different than they are. Very content in the moment. And we say, this is the moment, and this is a magical moment, this is a miracle moment, and so I'm going to live in that and be happy. And if I do that, then it just manifests itself. It's going to happen. You know? And actually is happening when I do that.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
Not hopefully something will come from that. That's actually making that happen. The minute I say, we'll be content and I will not desire more. So that's kind of the key to like Zen Buddhism and all those type of things. But we won't go into that. That's also another show.
How many shows are we going to do now?
I'm signed up for 2 more shows now.
Many more to come, I'm sure. Cool. Okay, so I think what I want to do now is I want to get in a little bit to why Jeff is here. We obviously have a history. I want to talk about who he is, what his own history is. I want to talk about his music. And I want to talk about, like I said, he's an entrepreneur. I believe he's at multiple businesses. He's got a really cool business right now. So I want you to know why he's here. Excuse me. And so I want to start with, like I said, it's been 25 years, and this is the thing. So if you watch the show, if you watch the Facebook Lives, whatever, you know that I have a small passion for dogs and nutrition and life, right? So it's everything that I am. It's a huge piece of who I am. But I didn't know that when I met Jeff, and so Jeff is the first person who took me into a health food store. And I went into this health food store. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
I remember I went in and I was like, holy smokes, this is so cool. Right. And so it wasn't long out of grad school where truly it was Taco Bell, Dr. Pepper. I can't even imagine what I ate. But the thing that made an impression in the store was they had these bulk herbs. And it wasn't, parsley and celery or cauliflower, not vegetables, herbs. Oregano, I'm not speaking well, but it was medicinal herbs, and it was these cool. I'm like, this is amazing. This is God-given medicine. I had no idea what it was, and I was completely overwhelmed. And I thought, this is the coolest thing.
Yeah.
What do you do with it? And so I left there just in my mind going, this is amazing stuff. And how do I do anything with it? And I mean, here I am now. I think I'm pretty confident in herbs and in, herbal medicines and combinations and supplements. I mean, it's, everything that I do and everything that I am besides food and dogs. So it was so interesting to me it sits on me going, that was an introduction to what my life was going to be.
Sure.
Which is bizarre, and it was years later. But just cool stuff.
Well, kind of my background in that is that, I'd been in a place for about a year in my life, or longer. Before that, before I met you, I had been, hitting clubs and playing music all over the place. And so, of course, staying up all night and drinking and doing all those fun things that you do when you're in your 20s. And so, like the pivotal point for me was going out to eat one night on a date with a girl, and then I drove home. And I'm not going to say where we eaten, but I'd eaten like a real fatty, real carby meal, just tons of sugar, wine, all sorts of stuff. Not putting down wine. Wine's our friend.
Wine is our friend.
But the thing is, but like I'd not felt well in days, and I pulled over to the side of the road, and I lost that whole dinner on the side of the road. And as unappetizing as that sounds, I went home and started really thinking about things. And then I went to the library and started looking up, just basic nutrition, the things that I probably wasn't taught because my parents, I'm Gen X, man, I'm latchkey. I was at home like.
And from small town Texas.
Yeah, in small town Texas. And so it's like one of my favorite things to tell people. And they, what do you mean you're like latchkey kid? I'm like, okay. I called my mom one time and I said, Mom, there's nothing in the kitchen. That she said, what's in the kitchen? I was like, there's 2 pieces of white bread. There's a red onion. There's a stick of butter and a bottle of ketchup. That's it. That is it. And she goes, well, get yourself to making white bread, onion, and butter sandwich with ketchup then. I'll be home later. And so that's basically how I came up, just learning to make whatever I could just to stay alive. And then in my 20s especially, I had a really hard time financially. Was eating anything that I could eat, bologna, like just buying all that cheap food.
All the good stuff.
Yeah, fried bologna sandwiches. And so then I just sat down and I read this book. I started reading about amino acids and the proper amino acids that my body needed, and protein and carbohydrates and what those things. And even though they taught you that in high school, that's fine.
Not really.
You're not listening. You're just trying to pass the test.
Yeah.
I was asleep in the back. But it was just one of those deals that I kind of became a pescatarian for a while, and I think I pretty much was that when I met you. I went out and planted a garden. My mother did teach me to garden when I was a kid, and in Waco where I met you, I had this little tiny garden in the backyard, and at one point, probably a year after I met you, I ended up becoming a vegetarian for 10 years.
Really?
Yeah, and so I just started experimenting with my kids, just seeing how these foods work with them, and their health, just blossomed. I mean, they went from kids with no energy that were maybe running around and that ate candy and things like that, and I became the dad that was like, well, I know candy sounds fun right now, but how about this broccoli?
Right.
Like we got some nice cauliflower mash going on over here. So, but my kids Tobias and Willow, I raised them completely vegetarian, and to the point where I told them, you can eat meat when you want meat. And so when they wanted meat, all of a sudden I wanted meat, and then we started eating meat again.
Meat is our friend also.
Yeah.
Healthy meat.
Yeah, and so we, it's just, nutrition has been the thing that really kind of changed my life. It's kept me going in the times that I didn't take care of myself, the fact that I was already healthy beforehand, and every once in a while I'll still jump into the bag of Ritz crackers and cheese. I eat too much cheese still.
Most of us do.
But yeah,
I'm better than I used to be. I don't eat much anymore, but.
I worked in in the health and Whole Foods for a long time, and that was actually kind of my introduction as well, is going to that little store in Waco, and I was like, wouldn't this be really cool to work in this? I mean, everyone here is like really seeking to be healthier and happier, and and plus all the free samples.
Samples are good, yeah.
I was happy in there for the free samples because I was poor.
Yes, where you are in your 20s.
Yeah. So.
Awesome. So, in learning more about Jeff, I was able to. I heard a lot of his music, and his music was amazing and beautiful. And so, we're gonna get to that here in just a few minutes. But what's interesting about us, you may not care, but I think it's super interesting, is that over the years, as we sort of went about our way, we kind of followed each other around a little bit. And so we met in Waco, went up to Fort Worth, and then ran into each other randomly in Las Vegas.
I went to Las Vegas. I saw that.
Was it DC?
I'm not really sure where it was. I think it was like I can't remember where it was.
I feel like maybe if it wasn't Vegas, it was DC because it was at a conference.
But I've never been to Vegas. So it could have been Vegas.
Okay, so it must have been DC because I remember it.
But we have seen each other, and then we both ended up moving to Colorado.
Yeah.
You before me. And it's like and I think we Facebook suggested that we become friends or something like that after I got on.
Over and over again.
Yeah, I was one of the last people to get on Facebook. I was like, not doing that, And now I'm just like a junkie. You know what I mean? I'm like, hey, look at my shoe, and to people, isn't this a cool shoe?
Food.
So here's my food.
He likes his food, yeah.
Here's my food. Here's my dog.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're interested. So.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, so besides being a musician, you have a company. You started, 2 years ago?
3 years ago.
3 years ago.
Yeah.
8650 Restoration.
8650 Restoration.
So talk about that, because that's cool stuff.
Well, about 20 years ago, I lived in a log cabin. I lived in John Denver's little log cabin in Georgetown, Colorado, It was
Really?
actually, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was my wife and it was our first house together, and it was the first time to live in a log house, and it was really drafty, and it needed a lot of work, and so after doing a lot of work to it, it was still just, it was in pretty bad shape. So I've just always kind of had a thing for log homes and restoring homes. So we started doing flips at one point of not log homes, but like lake houses and things like that. And when I moved to Denton, Texas, I lived in a red house, but I went to school I've gone to school for so many things. I went to school for horticulture and landscape design, and ended up getting like Yard of the Month awards and stuff like that. But I ended up taking a lot of the skills that my dad gave me when I was a kid, and started, fixing up old houses and selling them. And at one point, I realized that I liked this more than I liked anything else. And it was funny because I was really having this realization after I was doing a master's program in marketing online with Cornell University. And I was like, this is what I want to do for my living. I want to be a marketer, and so I ended up becoming a marketing director for a hospital. And I also was in city sales for the city of Fayetteville, Arkansas. But I couldn't stop building.
Which was right by my parents, by the way.
Yeah,
so you followed me and my parents.
right. Yeah. But, and I just couldn't get away from building things and restoring things. I've been restoring and refurbishing cars, old British and German cars, my whole life. If you know me, I got a BMW, and it's an older one, and I drive really fast. And and I love old Land Rovers, and so I've got 2 old Land Rovers that I'm working on. But I just have this like weird thing about me that I like to take things that a lot of people have totaled, or there's like, I don't want this anymore. I'd like to say I rescue unloved things. And so one day this lady just asked me, do you think you could restore a log home if you do all these other things? And I said, sure, but it takes me a long time to do things because if you know me, I'm like super OCD about things, and I want things to be perfect. In fact, kind of the thing about 8650 is I tell people, your house is going to be better than it was when it was new, because I have new technology, I have new products, we have new techniques, we have all the different things in order to make it. Plus, the people that built your house probably weren't as OCD as I am. And so I basically go in with my crews, and we fully strip a house down to bare wood. We take all the chinking and caulking out of it, and we just start the whole house over. So we do historical structures, old churches. We also do wood-sided cabins. We restore decks, and we get to work up in the mountains of beautiful properties. And it's really nice because almost everybody that I'm dealing with, they're really happy because they are up in the mountains and restoring something that has maybe been in their family for 100 years. We're about to do a house up in the Pike National Forest that's 120 years old.
Nice.
For the National Forest Service, and we're starting to do corporate accounts now. But it was something that I honestly thought was going to be a side project. I thought it was just going to be, I'm a marketing director, and I was literally getting out of my suit in my office and putting on jeans and boots and grabbing my tools and heading to home and working on a home until 9, 10 o'clock at night, and under cell phone flashlights. I mean, no joke. I'd be working on a home and somebody's holding up the cell phone. So
that's awesome.
After the first 3 or 4 houses, word got out in the log home community. People saw the pictures of the work that I did, and it literally was one of those things that just shocks you. Within a year, my wife quit work as a nurse. I quit a salary job as a marketing director.
She's also a beautiful musician.
She's a fantastic musician.
Yeah.
She's actually a better musician than I am. But yeah, and so now we run 8650 Restoration, and we work in 3 states: Colorado, New Mexico, and Texas. And it's just really fun and interesting. You get a lot of it's a very healthy job, and we get a lot of fresh air and sunshine. Lots of vitamin D, and at the same time we get a lot of injuries. So
yeah, I would imagine.
And you've helped me on a lot of the injuries. So,
oh, good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So my first injury, I think I called you, and I injured my knee, which I've injured my other knee, and used the same type of stuff, which was basically just getting a lot of collagen in my diet, making sure and keeping it active, and doing a lot of yoga, basic yoga.
Yep.
And
good.
I've got the function back.
All the good stuff.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
So.
Okay, good. So I think we're going to get ready for, get the t-shirt out there. We're going to get ready for a little music. But first I want to talk about a company that you've heard me talk about before. It's called Rightful. This is a company who is brand new to the supplement world. It's a liquid, and it's really great stuff. So they created this as a supplement for inflammation and for pain, and literally it takes pain and inflammation down. It's a turmeric supplement. It's also got a little bit of CBD. It's based in coconut milk, I believe, and it's got 8 plant-based ingredients in it. So it's got an AM and a PM, and I love it because my sleep is amazing. Oh, my dreams, my goodness, the dreams that I had last night, crazy. They were just really vivid dreams, which means, right, you're getting into your REM sleep. This is a good place. This is where you want to be. But then during the day, I'm more focused and alert and aware, and I have a problem sometimes with finishing tasks. You know, I'm always kind of jumping around, and that's sort of a focus for me personally, is something that on multiple different levels, but this has become one of them. How can I remain more focused throughout the day and get through the tasks that I need to get through? So this is a great product. And there are more and more pain management and pain management groups that are using this on a regular basis. So that's an interesting point, because we are moving a little bit outside of the natural health world, the functional medicine world, functional nutrition world, and starting to move into the allopathic world. And that's what we want. We want to be able to combine natural health with the allopathic world, because we are not bits and parts and pieces that are separate, right? And so our bodies aren't separate, our organ systems aren't separate, we're not separate from each other. We are energetically connected, but we need to be the same with the allopathic world. The allopathic world does kind of see us in bits and parts. I work on the heart, I don't work on the kidneys. Well, everything affects everything. We need to keep that in mind. And so that's where the functional world comes in, and we start to bring this together and work together on all of these on all of these planes, right? I believe, and somebody might get really mad at me, and that's okay, but I believe that allopathic medicine is it's great with acute care. It's lacking in chronic care. I think functional medicine is amazing in chronic care, but there's not as much acute care. So unless you actually are a physician and you're trained in both, okay? And so it's a good thing to have those come together. And so Rightful is one of those that's kind of bridging both of those. And I think it's a beautiful thing. So good company. You should try it. It's good stuff. Now, music.
Well, before the music, real quick, you were talking about dreams, and I literally, like 2 nights ago, I had the craziest dream with my dog Flapjack. So if you ever watch anything about my dogs, I have like one really crazy husky. And I had this dream that I was in the front yard planting flowers, seriously. And like all of a sudden in my dream, I had like a 74 Trans Am. I don't know why. But
not a BMW.
I heard the engine start, and I turned around and looked, and my dog was behind the wheel. And all of a sudden, he took off across town, and so I managed to jump in and get him out, and then I put him in the backyard, and I was like, leave the car alone. And so then I went back to planting flowers, and I heard the car start again, but this time he took off all the way, drove all the way underneath the bridge, and all of a sudden I heard a loud crash, and then a series of crashes, and I was like, oh, crap. And then I woke up. That was my dream.
Well, I hope Flapjack was okay in your dream.
Yeah, he was. I'm sure he was fine. So anyway.
So Jeff writes all of his own music. And so whether it's the lyrics or whether it's the music itself, you're getting a nice laugh. It's all his. It's original. It's beautiful. Which one are you doing?
This is a piece that I wrote called June's Lullaby. And so I named it after my friend Jessie, Jessie's daughter. And so because she told me her daughter listened to it all the time. So anyway, this is how it goes.
Amazing! How cool is that? That's so beautiful. Okay, so when did you write that?
Probably about I don't know, 5 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous.
Thank you.
I love it. All right, here on the stream KUHS Denver, we have now over 100,000 people watching this.
Woohoo!
100,000 people. Good stuff. So this is a great station. They do great things, and they bring in amazing, we bring in amazing musicians. Awesome. Thank you. Okay, we're going to do more.
I was wondering while I was playing that if you've ever had that long that you weren't saying something on the air.
No, but I'm okay with it because
Okay.
I know I have a radio show sort of, but
I was just making sure there wasn't an uncomfortable silence for like. Is he done yet? Is he
Hurry up.
done?
No, I'm actually not much of a talker, so this is sort of outside of my comfort zone.
I'm not much of a talker. I have a radio program.
Yeah, yeah. That was the scary thing about having a radio program is talking constantly. Anyway.
Can I give a shout out real quick?
Yeah.
Hey, I want to give a shout out to all my friends in Colorado, all my peeps in Denton, and all my friends from high school and from Springtown, Texas, because I love all of you. And my buddy Joe. You know, you're my baby boy. And then my family, my kids, and my dogs. Okay, that's all.
Okay, good.
And my granddaughters.
Good. Okay. Okay, so here's what I want to talk a little bit about now. We're in this place of a lot of fear. And so I want to not focus on the fear. I want to focus on health and wellness and the understanding that a robust immune system is important now, but a robust immune system is important all the time. This isn't anything new that we need to be focused on. So we need to focus on our immune system. One of the things that I thought would be fun about bringing Jeff in too is besides his early health history, what he's done over the last couple of years is gone from kind of a smaller guy, thin.
I don't like the word smaller.
So, sorry, but you're thinner, and
I was thinner.
It's been 2 years, right?
Yeah.
Really, just going to the gym and bulking up, and yeah, I mean, look at that. I saw. Okay, good.
All right.
I saw a picture of a T-shirt that he was in, where his T-shirt basically looked like my arms in a T-shirt, and now his.
I wasn't that then.
No, it wasn't this. Or wasn't this thin? No. I have a muscle or two in there. But now it's a focus to be healthy. And if we're strong, we're building the immune system. If we're strong, we're building our neurological system and our brain health and everything. And so it's important to be strong. We don't all have to be super buff, but to be strong is an important part of being healthy. And so I do want to hit on the immune system and what we can do to support the immune system. And so one of the most important things, besides going to you don't have to go to the gym, go for a walk an hour a day. Just get out, walk in the grass, be in the sun, walk your dog, do things that are active, move constantly. This is going to build the immune system. Don't be afraid of being outside. Don't sit in your house during this time. Go outside, enjoy being outside, okay? But your microbiome is an incredibly important part of the immune system. It's upwards of 70% of our immune system. So our microbiome is our gut health, right? It's our gut bacteria. Actually, that's a lie. Our microbiome is all of the bacteria that lives in and on us. And so then we have our microbiota, which can be our oral microbiota, our gut microbiota, and so forth. And so supporting that and making sure that these bugs that we're carrying around with us, because they are our friends, and you've heard me say this, we're just little bug vessels. That's all we are.
Yeah.
Our bugs are our immune system. They're our mental and our emotional health. They're our personality. They're so much a part of who we are. They're these amazing little cool creatures. And we have to support them, because if we don't support them, then what's going to happen is we're going to have the bad bugs, the opportunistic bugs, the pathogenic bugs. They're going to get out of control. Then what happens? We have a sad immune system, or personality changes. Literally, depression, anxiety, sadness. If our gut health and our microbiome is not healthy, it will change us. Our microbiome, our gut is also where 90% of our serotonin, which is our happy neurotransmitter, is produced. So we have to have, as well as certain vitamins, we have to have a good, healthy microbiome. So things to support that. Of course, there are probiotics. Different types of probiotics. Mix them up. If you're going to take a probiotic, mix it up. You don't want to take the same thing all the time, because you want different bugs. Fermented foods. Vegetables. Lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of vegetables. I can't tell you, and not the same kind. For those of you out there who are eating chicken and broccoli and rice every day, you have to stop, because there are a lot of people in the gym that believe I'm going to eat healthy, so all I'm going to eat is chicken breast and some rice, which
boiled
really
chicken breast at that.
I don't understand that at all. And then a little broccoli or a little cauliflower or whatever. We need a wide variety of food, of plant-based foods, because the wider the variety of the plant-based foods we eat, the wider the variety of our microbiome, and we have to have that. So with that said, I am curious about what you're doing besides getting into the gym. I know that you're a healthy guy anyway. What are the things that you like to do to keep yourself healthy, and then just maybe even mentally and emotionally healthy with all the craziness?
Well, the thing is that how I got into this is that when I first met you, I'd gotten off of tobacco. I was raised in a tobacco kind of household, and so I quit smoking for a year, and I'd gone to the gym every single day for a year. And at the time that I met you, I was cycling to work and things like that. So and I was eating well. But then I fell into this kind of a rut over probably a 10-year period, to where I started doing better financially, and so I started eating better. Like most of my life, my young life had been coffee and the occasional hot dog, but like maybe a whole day without food. And I was like, it's okay, because coffee's my friend. And so it's one of these.
People think that.
Yeah, and so I ended up doing one day is I saw a picture of myself when I was 29, 30 years old, and I looked in the mirror and I didn't recognize myself. And I was like, okay, so I'm either going to slide off into that 50 to 70 thing, to where you're like, life is freaking over. I'm going to talk about how old I am all the time, my knee pains, all this sort of stuff, or else I'm going to go kick the crap out of life. And so, I came up with this thing.
Good attitude.
I came up with this thing it sounds as cheesy as it sounds. I have my own initiatives and things that drive me. And so I sit down and make my own programs for me. And so my first program was, I call it MHP, which sounds cheesy, but it was maximum human potential. I wanted to see how, like the greatest me I could be, which was like in music, which in art, and all those other things that everyone already knew me for. But I wanted to feel the best that I could feel. I had major problems with anxiety, PTSD, depression. It was always constantly messing with me. And so I started just one by one dropping off the things that I felt were like I'd eat something and I'd notice that I'd change. The first thing was sugar, and then it was just too much flour, which ends up just becoming
not our friend.
Yeah, and so it was just one thing after the other. Me and pork, we're still pals. We just wave at each other every once in a while, and sometimes we just like make out. I mean, like I freaking love some bacon. I'm always gonna love bacon.
Nitrate free.
Shout out to bacon. Yeah, and so it's but what I ended up doing was I was almost to the point of quitting smoking, but I couldn't find a way to do it, and so I thought, well, I'm going to get a new addiction, and that's going to be the gym. So I literally, instead of having a cigarette in the morning, I just went to the gym. And I found that after about the third day, I didn't want a cigarette anymore at all.
That's amazing.
And so I like to tell people a good way to probably quit smoking, and I actually did this, was bought a box of Twinkies. It's actually kind of funny. And if I was needing the hand-to-mouth thing that people say that they need so badly, I put a Twinkie right there, and I would take bites out of it. Like that, and I don't really like.
Of all things.
I don't really like Twinkies very much. I'm not pushing Twinkies.
I know.
I'm just telling you whatever you have to do. And then that became healthy things like in the morning I would have a shake, but then I was still like, I was still probably 25 to 30 pounds overweight at that point. Even though I was thin, I had it like all in here, like your traditional late 40s, early 50s guy. I know you think I'm 32. I'm not. So, and so I just started intermittent fasting. I read up on intermittent fasting, which is really, I still practice intermittent fasting, which is not fasting where you're like missing a whole day. Some people do that, but most of us just only eat for 8 hours a day. I don't start eating. I don't start eating until 11 o'clock. Then I stop eating at either 7 or 8 o'clock. It's not that I don't ever break that. I do.
Sure. Yeah, you don't ever want to be crazy about that kind of thing, because I don't think it does us any good. I think mentally and emotionally we don't, because sometimes our body's going to tell us, you know what, I really need something right now. Sure.
And it became plant forward. So like the very first thing that entered my body in the morning was black coffee and water. And I can have that anytime I want, black coffee or water. But I don't want anything, not even a drop of milk, because my body starts metabolizing. You know what I mean? And so what I'm wanting to do is I'm wanting to work off of basically glycogen, right? I mean, I'm wanting to, when I go to work out, I'm going to work out fasted, and I think that's right. If that's wrong, let me know. But you're basically, I'm working off of, it seems like nothing, but there is actually something there. I still have this, so my body's going to start consuming this. I just got through bulking, okay? So I have a little bit of chub left, but it's pretty chub, like a silverback gorilla. And
so I want to make sure that we're able to get through this, because we've got two other songs. No, it's okay. I want to make sure that everybody gets to hear.
But it's just nutrition. I mean, more than anything, focusing on nutrition and then going to the gym at least 3 times a week, a lot of water, and then sleep has been the thing that I've discovered in the past 6 weeks. Sleep has been the greatest thing. Is like getting 8 to 10 hours of sleep a night. And
I think it's kind of a point that I wanted to make for some of you who maybe are trying the intermittent fasting. It is a great thing. It works really well for some, and for others not as much, and so never push too hard on something like that.
Sure.
But there are some people who are waking up in the middle of the night and they can't go back to sleep. Sometimes it's due to a drop in glucose. So when your glucose drops, your cortisol goes up, and that's what happens in the morning. Glucose drops, cortisol goes up, and so it's time to get up, but you don't want that at 3 o'clock in the morning. At least most of us don't. So what could happen for those of you who are dealing with that is maybe you need to go grab a protein or a little something to snack on, not sugary, not bready, nothing, something to put in your belly to get to stabilize and go back to sleep. So it's something, it's an easy trick that I tell clients, and it works a lot. Doesn't always work. There are lots of reasons that go into lack of sleep, but I just really wanted to put that out there, because that can happen, especially when we're doing the intermittent fasting.
Yeah, but and it's not that I do it all the time. There again, it's just a lot of times it's for a gut recheck.
Yeah.
I mean, like I can clean my gut out, and then like I can have that, and I'll have Megan, my wife, makes like great fermented goods, and so we'll have kimchi and all types of, like, she makes sauerkraut and kombucha, and so like it just helped get all that good gut flora going back on again. And so when I start feeling puny, that's the thing that I do. is I go into a fasting, a lot of water,
Mhm.
and then, but making sure that when I'm eating in that 8 hour period, I'm eating really healthy, you
Yep.
know,
Yep.
a lot of plant-based foods, a lot of really good, you know, solid proteins, and easy to adjust things,
Yep.
you know. I
Good.
watch it on the tofu and things like that, even though I love
Tofu
tofu.
doesn't do you any good.
Yeah, yeah,
Don't
so-
do tofu.
Yeah. Oh, no, I'm just saying. Like I pretty much laid off of it. It's
No
not.
tofu.
It's not necessarily good for a guy.
Or a girl.
Yeah. So, but
Okay, cool. So I want to talk real quick about Zymogen, then we're going to go into some more music, and we still want to fit in 2 more songs. So Zymogen's a company that is a science-driven, data-driven company. They're a really great company. Something that I forgot you saw it on the Rightful was if you want Rightful, go to their website and put in TLN20. Sorry, I totally forgot to say that. But for Zymogen, you can go to my website and you can click on the Zymogen link or the whole script. So there it is, Rightful TLN20. Put in that code. For Zymogen, though, you'll put in Radio 5. So go to my website, put in Radio 5, and you'll get a discount. They're a great company. They have a whole line of immune boosting products. So here's their immune essentials. They have amazing probiotics, all for many different reasons. They've got colostrums to help to support immunoglobulins. Lots of great things, you know, vitamin D, simple enough, things like that. So great company. Put in Radio 5, and that's the code for Zymogen. Now, more music. What are you going to play?
okay, I'm going to do a piece that I wrote back when I was in my 20s. I want to say hi to my Fitbod family. Anyway, Fitbod's an online like workout community. And
Cool.
so I just got some hellos from the Fitbod community. And hey guys, and they've been a big part of my journey as well. So if
Awesome.
you can get part of, become part of any type of health or fitness
Yeah,
group.
it helps to have
Yeah.
support.
But this is called Green, and I wrote this back in probably 1994.
This is before we met, and so we met somewhere around there. This song, though, I remember. It's such an amazing and beautiful song.
Hopefully I won't screw it up.
I was like, do I just clap quietly or do I jump and cheer? I don't know. Anyway, I love that song so much. It's really, just really gorgeous. I think when I was posting about this, I said that his classical guitar just really moves me to tears, and it's just amazing.
Thank you.
I love it. Okay, so we have just a little bit more time. So what I want to talk about is dogs.
Dogs.
I'm going to talk about dogs. We always have to talk about dogs. We usually have a dog on here that we try to get adopted, but things have been a little bit crazy, as we know, so that could not happen today. But we can talk about dogs, and then we're going to listen to another song. And so really what I want is, he had messaged me one time about feeding dogs. And so if you follow me, you know that I'm a full believer in raw feeding and feeding real food, and then I hate the term human food. Mm-hmm. Food is food. It's not human food. So,
Amen.
Yeah.
Preach it.
So I want to know what you feed your dogs.
Oh, okay. Well,
you have one or two? You've got two, right?
I have two big huskies. Yeah. I have an abnormally large husky. Who's like, we thought he was a wolf breed for a long time. Mm-hmm. We got the DNA test and found out he's in the Shaquille O'Neal of huskies. So whereas the average husky male weighs about 65 pounds, he weighs anywhere, depending on how lazy he's been, between 95 and 100 pounds. And he's like almost a hand higher. So when you see giant Knuckles, he is a full-blooded husky. Wow. He's just a giant. So, so yeah, it kind of depends on what they're going through. Honestly, they get anything from fish and lean meats. We do give them some kibble. It's high-quality kibble, but
no such thing like. There's no such thing as human food. There's no such thing as high-quality kibble.
Yeah, well, so I get you. But you ask what we found. But generally they're getting whole foods. Like there was a time period that we went through that we got them organic chickens and rice and fresh vegetables, which we found that they really liked a lot. But huskies are really picky, and so they'll go through time periods. We'll eat that, then they want fish, and so and then we've done some raw foods. The funniest raw food story was lamb. Okay, so we got raw lamb for him one time, and Knuckles loved it. Mm-hmm. Well, my other dog, Flapjack, who's crazy, who stole my car in my dream, we put the bowl down in front of him, and he went over and sniffed it, and his stuff was so raw that he started barking at it. Rah, 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 rah. And he got across the room, his hair was up on his back, and
That's
so
great.
So yeah, it just with them we kind of change it up constantly. Mm-hmm. Generally the foods are raw. Some things are slightly cooked. Some of them are just scraps that we have. But we look at it. Of course, I'm not giving them chocolate, and macaroni, and cheese. But pretty much we eat healthy. They eat healthy. Mm-hmm. So whatever we're kind of into, they're kind of into at the same time. Mm-hmm. One of the reasons why I found that I got to thinking about what we're cooking. How am I cooking, and what are they smelling? And this is what kind of got us away from kibble. Was that how would you like to eat up? How would you like to see somebody eating a steak over there, and smelling all that, but you're eating dried up bone crackers and beaks and things all ground into something. So this kind of got me moving that direction. My mom also, when I was a kid, we had 13 to 15 dogs. We really did.
Wow.
Yeah. So my mom.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and so my mom would was constantly bring home little dogs. We had lots of little dogs, but I also had coonhounds. And so if I left my hounds out, they would go hunting, and they would eat what they caught.
Yeah. So that's how it should be. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, we kind of do that. It's like human food is dog food, and dog food is human food. I mean, it just we would kind of just buy for the whole. For the whole family, and they're part of it. They sleep on my bed. They go places with me. They spend just about every moment with us. Yeah. So I don't see them as being different, and they're not going to get a substandard diet. That's just not how we operate. What do you feed your dog?
All raw. So they get, it depends on what I have. So it's chicken, could be beef, could be elk, could be fish, could be, it was turkey, right? Could be any of it. I also have it ground up in chubs, so they're getting bone, they're getting organ meat. Okay. They have to have beef liver. They have to have beef liver for the copper content, very important. And then they'll get cod liver oil and some fish oil and some veggies, a little bit of veggie, and some kelp. Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
And we do at my house, it's you know, awful to some of you people, but at 9 o'clock every night for pretty much Knuckles' entire life, and now Flapjack, we have like the 9 o'clock, you know, cheese. It's just that their nightly like treat for being good, and so they just get a little tiny bit of cheese, or it'll be peanut butter or something like that. You know, when we eat really good peanut butter at our house, so we
Awesome.
do. Yeah, it's like, you know, it's fresh ground. So, but yeah, that's basically how we treat them as humans.
Cool.
You know, and so.
Cool.
Yeah. I don't see any reason not to. I don't care.
Well, yeah, they're family,
Yep,
right? That's
yep.
the whole point.
And they're very happy and they're very healthy, and I'll just say that. Knuckles is 12 years old, and his tests all come back like a 7-year-old. Huskies are generally dead between the ages of 10 and 11 years old, or they're all broken down, and he runs and plays and fights and does everything else that like a 7-year-old or 5-year-old dog would do.
Good.
And his vets are always just blown away with his health.
Good.
And I always bring it back around. I'm like, it's all about nutrition. It really is all about nutrition.
It is,
So.
absolutely, for all of us. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to wrap this up, and I'm going to just let Jeff finish with his song. And this one has vocals, so pay attention. We might run a little bit over. It's a beautiful song. So we are KUHS Denver. We're streaming live to over 100,000 people. There's a tipping point that we hit, which is awesome stuff. So I'm very excited about that. And for me, I am Nikki Burnett, functional nutritionist, which means I look for the root cause of what is bothering my clients. And so my company, Taste Life Nutrition, this show, Taste Life Radio, you can go to my website, you can go to Facebook, you can find me anywhere pretty much. I work with all kinds of people from chronic conditions to, you know, general weight loss, hormone dysfunction, things like that. And I think we'll stop there and just let you finish.
Well, I'd like to thank you for having me on the show today. And for 100,000 people out there, thank you. I am also the lead singer of the band Rosin Thief. So,
yes, sorry.
I don't know if you have a shirt, but like,
I don't have a shirt. Look it up, Rosin.
R-O-S-I-N. Rosin Thief. If you go on to my
Sorry.
Facebook page, you can find it. If you just go on to Facebook and type in Rosin, R-O-S-I-N, Thief. And my wife Megan plays electric bass and electric cello. My friend Joe Camacho is our percussionist and pianist, and I'm the lead singer and electric guitar. So it's a rock band. It isn't like this.
So I want to say one thing real quick, and we're still running out of time, but it's really cool because I knew Jeff when he met Megan, his wife, and she's the one who made me fall in love with the bass.
Yeah.
Or the cello.
The
I don't know which one.
cello. Yeah, cello.
So
Yeah.
yeah, and they would play together, and it was magic.
Thank you.
So just true magic. So literally, to this day, if I hear a cello, I'm in love.
And she's the best cellist I've ever known.
Yeah.
So, and this is true. So this is called Checkered Stockings.
Staring back at me from my apartment window. Was so bright, there were no stars the night so long ago. Went down to the pub and grubbed to make love to a beer. At the corner of 2nd Street, I saw you standing there. That was the first time that I saw you, and you were dancing under a street light, and the bugs were circling around you, and so was I. And then the first time that I saw you, and you were dancing under a street light, and the bugs were circling around you, and so was I. Sirens going off round town, and the twister was coming down, and the people screaming they were seeking shelter underground. I pulled you to a basement where you looked at me and cried. You just like I'll love you forever if we don't die. That was the second time that I saw you, and you were holding me so tight. Seemed the birds chirping the trees and all the world was right. And then the second time that I saw you, and you were holding me so tight. Seemed the birds chirping the trees and all the world was right. Came home late one night and you said, Mac, we need to talk. Things were packed in bags and out of a suitcase on your jacket stockings. You looked me in the eye and said, Mac, I think it's time for me to go. You came as you went and you went as you came, and why I never know. And it was the last time that I saw you, and you were waving me goodbye. And the bus rolled down in a slow delight. And then the last time that I saw you, you were waving me goodbye. And the bus was rolling down in a slow delight. I saw you and you were dancing on the street light. The bugs were circling around you and so was I. And then the last time that I saw you and you were waving to me goodbye. Well, then the bugs were rolling down in a slow delight.
Awesome. That's it. Thanks, guys. Taste Life Radio. Jeff Jeffus, Rosin Thief.
Rosin Thief.
8650 Restoration.
Rosin Thief. 8650 Restoration. Jeff Jeffus Live.
We'll see y'all next time on KUHSdenver.com. KUHS streaming live to 100,000 people and more. We'll see you in 2 weeks, 10 o'clock Mountain Standard Time.
Thank you, Nikki.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, you thought you were going to high five me.
All right.